Okay, thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
Yes.
Oh, Hassan. Oh, that's Hassan. I'm sorry. That's my mistake. So there's just this open question now. I think everyone, most people in town or the various officials are supportive. The select board, I think, other than one person, was supportive of doing this. But maybe there's more discussion with that one select board member. But there's just this open question about, well, so how do you pay for it? And so that's kind of so I chatted with a couple of the select board members then again this week. I was given a suggestion to follow up with the historic commission, see if they would endorse, since it's a historic golf course, would they endorse? And so I said, okay, I'll do that. I'll follow up with the historic commission. I'll follow up with the recreation commission to get their endorsement. So, we'll have a record that various town boards and committees are in favor of this. And I'll also follow up again with the head of the CPC committee to say, well, so could you do a portion of it, right? Because that's what it kind of comes down to, I think, is could the CPC committee do a portion if the town through the revolving funds somehow did the balance. So I think we'll just have to watch this play out over the next month or two, as the town is getting ready for a town meeting in the spring. So we have some time to sort this out. But there's just this open question of, so how would you pay for this project? Yes.
I thought the presentation was going to be like.
Are we talking about irrigation projects?
Yes.
I thought part of the presentation, I know Sam had recommended this, I thought we talked about was gonna be like a 5-year plan. I know Bill had provided information about how often, like what the schedule would be for things that come up for regular maintenance, whether we get every 5 years, 10 years. So I thought part of the presentation was gonna be like a 5-year budget type thing or plan.
Yep.
Doesn't the committee have to, I mean, when I look at the responsibilities of the committee that's posted on the town website, I mean, one thing is to prepare draft budgets for operations, capital improvements to be considered by the board, selectmen, and for future town meetings. And also develop a master plan to include annual goals for the golf course with president and company input. So, it just seems like having, I was surprised because I wish I could have been there. I had a friend visiting by 30 years. But I was surprised when I looked at I downloaded the package from the select board meeting that 5-year budget wasn't in there that had been talked about here.
I understand. So yes, we had talked about a 5-year budget. Having had some experience in presenting to the select board and how much time, they can allocate to topics like this. I decided to keep it simple for them. And so focused on the projects that we wanted to get approved right now, which, the $60,000, the 4 projects for $60,000, and then let them talk about irrigation. Certainly we can follow up at another time if they ask more questions about, the 5-year, opportunity, the projects that might happen over 5 years. But, I think the way the conversation with the select board, I think the way it went was just fine. It kept them focused on what they actually had to decide in the very near term. And then it opened up this question about, so how do we pay for an irrigation system? So, but we can come back another time. The select board likes updates. And so another time we can give them an update on other things. I think we got to keep them focused on irrigation, though. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the primary challenge right now is keeping them focused on irrigation.
But I would think a 5-year budget would help with that. So, and I know that Sam said it was, I thought Sam said that was critical to do at this time, but now we get a whole budget planning.
We could,
But it seems
we
like
can
going
come,
before town meeting would be really.
and
important.
that might be part of preparing for the town meeting is giving the rest of the context of, why to do things. So I understand.
And when is the town meeting again?
I think the town meeting might be in April.
Sometimes late March.
So, there's time and you can see, various town boards and committees sort of starting to gear up for, preparing for the town meeting. So it appears that it comes down to a combination of the select board and the CPC committee, and Mark Purple, and how and how the finances might be approached for funding this project. Yes, just John.
First of all, I did look into my association for grants.
Yeah.
Improvements in golf courses, which there are, but we just didn't qualify. They're more for conservation.
Yeah,
Okay, so.
yeah.
That didn't apply, but I did look into that, so I'll give you the information so you can add that, because I think that's what they're looking for, obviously. Is, hey, you do due diligence, go where, go here, and now we're your last resort.
Yep.
I think that's what they want to be.
Yep.
So I did go on that. My question would be is, I've been doing municipal projects for 30 years. This is the first time that I ever heard anything, and I'm guessing this is a possible question, that our terms of management company has an effect on it. Never ever heard that. There should be no reason for it, because the town of South, so
Thank you.
they're the owners. And I just don't understand where our involvement here in terms of contracts is to do. It doesn't make sense. So that'd be one question I would ask, and I'd like to know the answer why, just in case, or why would you bring that up? It's never been brought up before, and I've never had an issue with getting. We've done, I put in irrigation systems. We've had that, and we rebuilt rings, $150,000. They're doing a clubhouse, $2 million. It's has nothing to do with me. Right, the town owns it. They should be the ones pulling the bond and giving it to us rather than, it sounds like that's what they're trying to do, is make it, the golf course is pulling the bond. It shouldn't be, it should be the town pulling the bond. We're gonna feed the town, and to be honest with you, if we do fall short, the town's gonna pick it up. That's in real life, I think, really, that's the way they go, and it just didn't, and when he brought up the fact, our contract, there's no bearing. The golf course is here in perpetuity. It's never leaving. And that's what you want to do, is to keep those funds up, which case the irrigation's the horse. You need that irrigation, and to be honest with you, it's, when I go to look at a golf course, first thing I do is I look at the irrigation system. So.
Who is the gentleman speaking, please?
This
John
is,
Allen,
this
sorry.
is John Allen.
John Allen, okay, thank you.
Okay. Those are real life things. So. And from, perspective, having it look like this all year round, and I invite you, go look at Google 2001, 2011. And I'm looking for a photo that showed this only brown, except for 9 spots on the whole thing. You get to that point, that onus is on the people who bought the land in perpetuity to be open space in the rain. It's that simple. So the funding is important for the decisions made in the past, the decisions presently, and the future of the golf course. And how everybody presented this when the town purchased it. I think that was the whole thing, is to have it look like this. You have Sudbury Valley Trust. There are basically the gatekeepers that, we notified them. They have it. Committee, and I will compliment you. You're doing a great job, best committee that, as far as the last 2 years, getting things on the table. Before, there really was nothing should have done. At least we're getting things done. The money that we generate here, and you get, and you talk about budgets, which a budget should be knowing what you want to do, have a price tag to it, and then bring it up sometime down the line. You can't go to a 5-year budget, because it's next year you don't know.
What you do with me, that budget's always an estimate. I mean, you can show how.
Right, but a budget doesn't have to be financial all the time.
Right.
It can be a project wise, hey, we're gonna do this 5 to 10 years, and they do change. Based on what. So my main question was, I just don't understand how our term of the contract goes into a 15-year bond where the town's always gonna own it. It just, I just.
So-
can't see the
so John,
correlation.
So I guess my only comment there will be, and I suggest we don't get stuck on this topic.
I understand that.
Is-
it's
is
not the conflict.
Is, yeah, a question was asked, right?
But that's
By,
what I'm saying.
no, but I can't explain why that person was thinking that way. I cannot explain.
And that was
And
during the
so-
last meeting,
That was at the select board,
Okay, they were.
the select board. And so I'd rather, not dig into that too deeply, the question was asked about, I understand.
And it's something to bring up, why, right?
Yep.
Us.
I understand, and now I will say, I think. I think it is an interesting approach, perhaps, to put together a list of projects, we've done, committee and the golf management company, right? We've done $75,000 worth of projects a year for the last 2 years now, give or take. And it is an interesting question, actually, to think about in the context of funding a bond. What other projects do we think need to be paid for out of the revolving fund? So you can actually have a little bit of a budget there. And so,
That's why.
and so that you could explain to the town that, well, look, here's one bucket, which is irrigation over the next, 15 years. But over the next 5 years, here are some other projects that we think need to be covered. And this is how the dollars then need to be allocated. And this is what the overall financial picture might look like. I think that is I think that's, the next level of detail of trying to justify why, how much of a bond could be covered by the revolving fund, assuming you can settle the contract, term question, right?
Yeah, now you're saying for 15 years.
Yeah, no, that's right. But I think we're gonna have to work our way through this for a little while, trying to gather some information. And so one moment. So I do think it would be interesting to try to forecast a little bit over the next 5 years, what other projects, like the projects that are going to be pursued now, redoing the bunkers, right? What other projects are likely over the next 5 years?
The likely things, the impactful things are probably the teaser, the ET complex. With the increase in play, it is almost impossible to keep it maintained in a healthy way. Irrigation on top.
Do this right now, I'm gonna object.
Okay.
Non-committee members are describing this. And I'm getting a little bit frustrated by that.
Okay,
We have gone through that. With Bill, with you, we have the list, it's all in the minutes. Agree that we need to figure out and come to a recommendation about how, if you will, we divide our incoming revolving fund funds into planned maintenance and maybe a long-term, all the irrigation thing, a long-term retirement of some debt that we probably are going to incur, but I don't think we should just do this off the cuff right now.
so that's
Doing
fair.
that list.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah, no, that's fair.
Keep it focused on what we have.
So,
There
Let's
is
see.
one other thing pertinent to this that I want to at least query about.
Yeah.
I know you don't want to name names. There's one select board member who responded in my Southborough to
Yep.
this issue. And I read that response very carefully. And if I read it correctly, it's calling for, in essence, he didn't use the word plan, but a needs of projecting how much of the revolving funds the golf course can use to, now I quote, pay for itself. So cool. If that's the perspective, and I'm assuming that was the person who objected, if that's the perspective that we have to address, I think we can make an attempt to address it exactly along the lines that we're talking.
Yeah.
Some portion of the revolving fund, take those to annual maintenance, things that come up that we can and cannot anticipate. Some portion of it goes to retiring debt that we have yet to figure out how we're going to allocate. But we all know that irrigation is a make or break issue for this and any other golf course. And I think we should make that an agenda item. Try to address that objection. I mean, we're gonna have to come up with that for whichever town meeting we go before. We're gonna have to be able to address those issues.
Thank you, I was bringing that up, because I read it too, and, you know, it's definitely, Nick was pretty good. Anyone who
It
hasn't
was
read the
one
article.
part of that article that I seriously objected to, and it goes to something that John said. People were talking about generous funding, I'm saying being generous to whom?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
This
thought
is
that
the
too.
town's property.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay,
I remember when we were at town meeting, and because they wanted to get the land for the public safety building, there were two options. Once they put the conservation restriction on, it was either keeping it as open land or has the golf course. And they never look at what would the town be having to spend to maintain open land. This was just kept open, and you don't just let it be wild and crazy, you know, let it go wild. You know, and I know he also commented about being off the tax. Do we know if St. Mark's paid tax on this?
St. Mark's doesn't pay taxes generally.
No, but they did, I guess, I didn't know in the course. They might pay 30,000.
so I guess I'd suggest that we try not to, I don't know, relitigate what happened 5 years ago. I do think that it's interesting to, and maybe, so maybe if it's okay with you guys, I'll volunteer to do this, to try to create a, I don't know, a very brief summary, a 5-year budget summary based on projects that we've talked about in the past, right? And I might have some more questions for the management company then to try to forecast what expenses might the golf committee want to pay for out of the revolving fund over the next 5 years. And then maybe that'll help us understand, like on an ongoing basis, how much money kind of needs to be allocated for shorter term projects versus a longer term project, like an irrigation system. So let me, if that's okay with you guys, I'll take a shot at that over the next week or so, and then I'll send it to you guys by email, and then we could talk about it the next time we meet in person. But I think that would be helpful then to just kind of set a context for the town, if and when we get to a town meeting, so people can understand how the golf course operates. Yeah, okay, I think that sounds good.
And I was, you know, provided that list, right? We already have the list from Bill.
I understand.
Yeah.
Okay, Dick, did you have something else?
You know, I was at the meeting for CPC.
Yeah,
It kind of came at, they expect people either come in with one, grant money, this is what they look at. We can't get grant money. In that conversation, he said, if we have 100,000, it makes it easy
Thank you.
to do it. Fortunately, we spent a couple $100,000. Yeah, you don't have to. That was part of the meeting, I don't know. Heard that.
I did hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think it's part of the, I'm sorry.
I don't know if we can do much going forward for this town. If we can't get anything from this town, we gotta look forward to that. We should have some kind of money.
Yeah, I mean, another possibility, kind of going back to something Ira said, right, or someone said, right, I think there is a cap of how much money can be kept in the revolving fund as it is today. But it's also my understanding that, like, I think the town could change those rules at any moment. And maybe the town could create another account where funds were accrued for bigger projects over a longer time period. Yeah. Yeah.
Should we go over that? Next, it goes into the general fund.
And that's.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Well,
Yeah, so, but you know, so it's, right. So I think there are a number of kind of interesting twists and turns here about things that might be possible in funding this.
I think it was a great idea, you just had a, could they create another fund, which
Yep.
is essentially an irrigation fund.
Or a long-term project, long-term project.
Where
fund.
you put
Yeah,
money in
yeah.
every year.
So speaking of moving forward can I ask please the status of, now that we have funding approved for the 4 short-term projects, what is the status of the getting Hole 1 improved drainage and Hole 3 cart path? Because I believe those, even though we have funding approved, we still need approval by the CPC.
Commission.
So I'll tell you what, so we'll come to that, but how about if it's okay with you, we'll just finish this irrigation discussion for
Oh, sure.
first.
Okay, sure.
So I'll pull together a brief, 5-year projection. Is there any other discussion we want to have on irrigation before we move on to The shorter term projects?
I'm for it.
You're for irrigation, okay? We were all wondering, Ira. Now we can proceed. Anything else on irrigation? I am optimistic we'll find a path through this. But I think there are gonna be many twists and turns here over the next few months.
Yeah, I'll just need to take a deep breath. We'll be fine.
Yeah, I think we'll figure it out. There's certainly, it just seems like there's enough money coming in, one way or another to accomplish irrigation. So I think we'll sort this out, but we'll keep talking about it. Okay, so moving back to the shorter term projects then. So, John, can you talk about like what you think the status is on the shorter term projects?
Yeah, the range in particular,
Can you speak closer to the phone?
We'll bring the phone closer to John.
John Allen again. All the projects are, I've met with contractors and we're looking into getting pricing now. The path on 3 and the drainage has to go through conservation first before approval. The traps don't, because they're not in wetland areas. Traps, again, just waiting to get some writing up specs, and they have had rough quotes. Just getting through and seeing what they come in at, so I can make sure that the quotes are evenly and get the 3 contractors and get the written quote.
So single trap refurbishment and new lattice wall fence can begin as soon as you're happy with the quotes that you receive.
The fence, I'm not involved with. I have not been told to do anything regarding the fence. That was with the town, I believe. I'm not too sure. Was it?
I thought Bill
That's
had
the
done- I
netting.
thought Bill had,
He had the prices. We get all the prices and
Oh.
submit them and tell you what they're gonna be.
Oh.
We're not installing them. We're gonna put up there, but town has put up the poles. And I believe order the netting, and then I have no problem taking it up and down. That's it.
Okay. The quote that Bill gave us to that, town, but I'm confused now. I thought.
I never saw those quotes that Bill gave him. I just know.
I think it was a quote, I think it was an estimate.
Bill,
Yeah, there's no quotes. They're all estimates, correct?
Bill did say, I remember him saying it would be the same person that did the cages up. Yeah, so I don't know.
No, that's town.
Okay, yeah.
Could you please just check with Bill and, I don't know, help us close the loop on that about who's actually gonna do this? No, but I-
The town decided, your projects, we can only go so much, we only provide the work that needs to be done, scope of work, and then it's up to the town. You know what I mean?
But someone asks the town to then do the project, right? I mean,
What is, the committee proposes to the town, it says, yes, this should be done, they now take it over, he's probably not the projects, I'm not doing the project. I'm not doing any of these projects, I'm just helping the town, we can only do so much, I'm not an engineer, I'm not gonna spec out holes that I have no. I never put up a net, I never put up a fence, it's not my job.
Just got approval for funding for a fence that was estimated, an estimate for the cost of that. That's how we knew how to get.
Correct.
So now that
All right.
Okay, you're saying that the
So
town
you're walking.
is gonna be the one to execute the project?
Provide, that is correct, it's the town land, we just provide all the information so that we can make. We don't
Okay.
go out and look for it.
so I'll tell you what, so I will, I chat with Mark Purple periodically. I will ask him, how does the next step get taken on the netting? So I'll check with Mark Purple.
Right, I was.
Okay.
I didn't get any.
Okay.
notices. I just have the path, the traps.
I will check on that. Okay,
We wanna check out the Putnam thing, which we didn't do.
any other updates, John?
That's. New times, and that one said they didn't have a contract, right here, we looked at things. Again, it's just getting 2 other contracts and bringing up the scope of the work. The WPA I have to do, which, actually, it's get a consultant on that, because I'm not used to doing the conservation.
John, are you talking now about the 2 applications that are being submitted to the Conservation Committee?
I'm trying, there's no, yeah, I just asked the applications, and then when I talked to Melissa, she said I could fill them out, and I thought the owner had to do it. So I didn't know anything about that.
Wouldn't the committee be, so the committee doesn't do that?
I just have.
Because committees still manage the day to day.
I think that managed day to day is a pretty loose term. So.
We're doing the best we can to give you guys as much. It's
Yeah.
something that I wasn't too keen on doing, but I'll do it. 'cause-
I think you should do it.
And then I'm
You,
gonna.
you know how to do this. I think you should do it.
And I do
Yeah.
have.
Any other
It says, Mr. Allen working with a consultant to support required filings.
Right, help. I'm helping. I'm providing the information, and like I said, that's what I'm doing now. I'm actually doing the
So you're.
filings, which, you know, I would assume. Yeah, the owner, and we asked for this, they go like,
Okay, so the status is you're still working on the filings for.
Correct.
One for drainage. and-
Correct. Yeah, I've been going back and forth with Melissa, because there's a couple of plans, what I thought I could do, and found out I can't do something, so we had to redo it again.
Okay, so,
the-
so
that
keep,
was the drain.
keep us posted if you get stuck on anything. Okay,
But I'm just gonna go. to-
is there any other discussion about the 4 short-term projects?
So just out of curiosity, assuming it gets approved, would this be a? When do you think like the drainage would happen before the start? of the
Hopefully it dries out.
Yeah. that would be-
And the other thing would be freeze. How many months have we done in your drainage?
Yeah, I know.
So
So they could do it like after the phases, they would be able to do
Oh,
it.
this, all this work is gonna be done now.
Okay,
That's what
yeah,
we're gonna
yeah.
introduce, it's just a lot easier to get now, because, you know, it's tight, we don't have much area.
Right, yeah.
It's stockpiled here, bring it up there.
Yeah.
It's just not
Yeah.
convenient, and I think I addressed that with the cat path there, which
Yeah.
we'll do cat paths when it's no one else, it's just makes more sense.
One more question, please, for John
Yeah.
Allen, thank you. Who in the town would the golf committee talk to or work with to get the swamp fest project off the ground?
The which project?
Rosemary, Tony already said he's gonna meet with Mark Whipple to find out how to get that moving forward.
It's fine, it's started.
Okay. Any other discussion on the 4 near-term projects?
Two guys asked me to play.
Okay, so I'd like to come back to a topic we touched on last time, which was this Audubon Sanctuary Program. And so it looks like, so I've had some discussions with Freddie Gillespie about the history of this project, and John and I talked about it a little bit also. So there is this Audubon Conservation Program that was started when the course, was turned over to the town of Southborough. It was dropped for whatever reason, it wasn't finished. And I think if one of the contingencies that the CPC committee would have, if they provide funding for irrigation, is that project, that Audubon program be put back into place or be brought to conclusion. And so I've looked into this a little bit. I was wondering if there's someone on the committee who might be willing to work with Freddie and the CPC committee and help us understand exactly how we want to proceed on this, because I think maybe a subcommittee has to be prepared, and there's just work to be done on this Audubon program. So is there someone on the committee who might be willing to take the lead on this Audubon project?
But I don't know if everyone's aware of exactly what this is. So it has nothing to do with the National Audubon Society, totally separate. It was an organization that was created purely to certify golf courses. And I think you pay $1,000 to join an initiative, like $500 a year and stuff like that. Some of the stuff I read felt it was kind of a money maker for this organization. So I've read some pretty negative things about it. So I think just to really, I always, when I heard Audubon, assumed it had to do with National Audubon Society, zero to do with it. In fact, I think National Audubon Society is still going after them for using the term Audubon in this, with this kind of thing. So I would just do some research to make sure everyone really understands what it is. The other thing, I was talking to my husband, please, here too, and I remember some of the stuff that looked like it was telling us that we have to do. Something I think it's really important to understand some of these things, because I think like the buffer on either side of the creek could actually make this course a lot less attractive to people. So I think, just, you know, I would just do some research is all I'm saying.
So it certainly is my understanding that it might be, and I heard this from Freddie also, that there might be some components of this program that the course would not comply with. And so, but the details there matter, right? There might be some things that, yes, John,
The information is, I do believe that this is part of, SVT too, so you have to do it. I think it has to be done because CPA funded, so it's their program.
that's right.
They're doing it.
That's right. So I think,
Again, to answer your question, it really doesn't matter. So it is a program that is established and that well advertised, professional golf association and my association, the golf course, the association.
yes,
And it's a prestigious thing. There's a lot of, and I talked to people, Needham Country Club has done it. I think there's 13 in Massachusetts golf courses, of which 3 are either municipal or public diversified. So it's upscale.
okay,
But like I said, I think it's part of it's a commitment that I think you have to follow through with at some point, and sometimes it does take 10 years. You do have to hire a consultant.
thank you. So is there someone who'd be willing to take the lead on this for now?
You've been looking at me as you said.
Oh, no, I was looking out the window. No, I can look at someone else. I'm sorry, is there someone who?
If I was
Is there,
planning to stay on the committee, I would volunteer, but I'm not going to stay.
that, I did not intend to look at you, Ira. I'm sorry, I'm just,
So I
Rotating my
refer
head.
to some other-
I would appreciate it if someone else would be willing to take the lead on this. I won't look at anyone.
Please don't really know where to begin.
I don't know, Rosemary, I think he's,
I
I think
think-
he's looking at my phone.
Yeah, you know, I think it would start with reading the documents and coming up with an understanding of what the program is and chatting with Freddie a little bit. It doesn't strike me that this is that complicated. I mean, there are many steps, but it's not that complicated. It's something that would go on for a while.
But it's not complicated, it's just it's a time commitment, and that's the challenge.
So I understand.
In my opinion, I think it would be best to have everything, of course, the way it is, the irrigation, and, the maintenance building is an issue. And that was the biggest thing, is one of the.
Yeah, so I'd rather not talk about
I
the
understand.
component. I don't want to talk about the components of the Autobahn program. I think we just need, if it was possible, to have someone. It's not gonna be quick. I think this will be an annual component of the Southborough Golf Committee's activities. Because this will persist. And so we might as well understand it. And come to terms with it and help, drive the process to whatever it turns out to be. And so I'm just asking for some.
Not necessarily a long-term.
We need some more detailed information and some advice. So thank you very much. I hope no one leaned on you too much there. So you and I will exchange some email offline
Okay,
and I'll give you some information.
okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I can find out if.
And feel free to call upon Ira for anything.
part of it-
I can tell you, that a uni that is part of it, but I don't.
Do you know which private courses are or no? Is there a way to look that up? Okay. Cause that way I can talk to some of the people at work and.
Yeah,
find
I
out
think you
how
can
to,
just,
what it is.
if you dig into this,
Find a list. I think it's
Okay.
pretty easy to find a list.
Yeah.
of ones that are certified.
Just look it up. Just
Yeah.
look at the 13 Massachusetts.
Okay.
thank you very much for doing
Okay.
that. Is there, trying to think, is there any other business we want to discuss today?
Sort of internal business.
Yes,
Not
I'm trying not to look at you, Ira, yes.
This way you can look in light of my attempt to form a convention.
Yes,
Rosemary, can I twist your arm since you already take wonderful notes into learning the other clerical functions
Yeah, that'll be fine
and transition that responsibility over to you?
for the rest of my term, or what are you talking about?
Rest of your natural born life.
Every year.
And it's 2.5 years now.
Right, but technically, I believe every year when the committee starts fresh on July first, all the positions are supposed to be, voted on.
I think that's correct.
I want to get out of this life first. So Rosemary, can I communicate with you, let you know, if you agree, let me let you know what the
Details.
component bits are. And then decide whether or not you want to say yes.
Sounds good.
Otherwise, you guys can Ross.
Okay.
Thank you, Rosemary.
I know.
Is there other business that we'd like to discuss today?
Which I'll send it out to everybody, maybe just, you know, if somebody else.
So you were.
How much was raised for ALS?
Say again?
I
How
feel
much was raised for ALS?
I forgot to ask Bill, he does the accounting.
John doesn't have that number, he meant.
I apologize, that's my fault, I didn't mean to ask him, every time I ask him, it's like this.
Yeah, that's a great thing.
Yeah, that's good.
Is that something that's done every year?
Yes,
It has been done every year, yes, for the last 3 years, 3 years.
Okay, then I think we are ready to adjourn.
just a
Oh.
comment,
Yes,
thank you for putting on sprinkler covers.
If we get to.
Yeah, no, because there were a couple that were real issues, so. Yeah. I'll continue to spot, report if I spot it, but, thank you, it was, I did not see any uncovered or really dangerous broken ones, so.
Anything else?
No,
I,
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
all in favor? Thank you. Thank you, everyone. We have adjourned. Thank you for the discussion. Have a nice day.